Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Eric, if you don't know me. If you know me, welcome back. I'm glad you're back. Today we are going to be talking about an important question that is asked a lot to me, and also a big question I researched a lot when starting this business, and that's, should you buy a DTG to start your business? I don't know, let's find out. Okay, so if you know anything about t-shirt printing, or if you ever looked into printing your own t-shirts, you probably heard of DTG printing, or direct to garment printing, which is this printer right behind me. It's very fancy, state of the art. It prints unlimited colors, which is a lot different than screen printing. But the real question to ask is this something a beginner should look into getting when starting a business? You know, people see this and they're like, this is the key to my business success. This is what I need. But is it really? We're gonna find out today. Why you can trust me is I've been running my own DTG business for about 2 years now. Definitely been through all the ups and downs, and I could tell you all about it, whether it's an option for you or not. So this printer here, it's a direct-to-garment printer. It's not much different than the ones that you see on your desk at your office or maybe inside your house. It's basically an inkjet printer. And instead of printing directly to paper, it's directly to a t-shirt. Sounds simple, but there's definitely a lot of steps involved. So this is a good way to get into the t-shirt printing without having to worry about stacking screens for screen printing or cutting vinyl and pressing that on. You actually live without the heat press. Some people do, at least. One big reason why people get into DTG printing is that they're perfect for one-off designs. With screen printing, you want to pretty much use that for something that's gonna be like a bulk order, mass-produced items, especially if it's a single color print. You could run 100 through a screen press pretty quickly. Compared to 100 through a DTG printer, that could take all day. It could actually take a couple days, depending on the printer you choose. So anytime you get a direct-to-garment printer, you're gonna have to pre-treat your shirts. So anytime you use white ink, you gotta use pre-treat. You can print on white shirts and only print color ink, which is a different story, but let's be real, we're printing on colored shirts, we're printing on black shirts mostly. So you're gonna use a lot of white ink, and white ink is the headache problem with these DTGs, which is why a lot of people avoid them altogether, and which scares off a lot of people. So anytime you need to print white ink, you're gonna have to pre-treat your shirts. With this t-shirt pre-treater here, this is the Viper Max, and we use that to pre-treat the shirts. I can show you a little clip here of how it's done. This is probably one of the best on the market. I highly suggest that if you get into a DTG. So keep in mind, there are other things you need, so it won't just be a printer if you get into direct-to-garment printing. You're gonna need space for other equipment. So you got your pre-treater, then you're gonna need a heat press. If you don't use a heat press, you need a tunnel dryer or some type of dryer to dry your shirts. So a t-shirt dryer. And another thing to keep in mind with direct-to-garment printing is that it's pretty much for 100% cotton t-shirts. You can get away with some poly mixes, but you need to be on the higher side of the cotton, so 80-20, but really look for 100% cotton is what you want. I mentioned it earlier, it's definitely gonna be a slower process than screen printing, but keep in mind you're not gonna have to burn screens, you don't have to keep screens on hand. You don't have to keep any additional screen printing equipment, so that's one advantage to this, but you do, like I said, you do have other equipment, so keep that in mind. Also, DTG is a lot slower than screen printing, so when you go to scale up your business, that might be something to look for. That's why if you see a lot of these big DTG shops, they run multiple printers. At one point, I had 3 smaller printers, but this printer here, because it's industrial, it could keep up with 3 printers, which if you have a DTG, that's 1 headache. If you have 3 DTGs, that's 3 headaches. So 1 headache, you know, pick your poison. Like I was saying, DTG is not right for everybody. It's right for me in my situation, especially if you're doing a lot of one-offs, like I mentioned earlier. Like if you have an Etsy store and you want to sell t-shirts on Etsy, it's a good advantage to have a lot of designs, and you never know, you know, you're probably not going to be printing out 100 of the same designs. You might be doing 50 different designs in one day. So screen printing, that's just not happening. You're not going to do that with the screen printer. DTG, that's your bread and butter. That's where you're going to do it. Okay, so if you're already in the t-shirt business and you're getting orders, and you're, like I said, you run into the issue of having a lot of one-offs and you're tired of cutting vinyl, look into a DTG. There's some options on the market that are under 10K, not many. 10K seems to be the starting price for the newer ones. And really, when you're looking at DTGs, it's either Epson or Brother, maybe Cornet, but now you're talking about another industrial level. But for starting out, Epson and Brother, I should have just said that first to save you guys a whole lot of time. If it's not an Epson printer or a Brother printer, just keep moving. Keep in mind that ink is expensive. For this printer here, each time I buy an ink cartridge, you're looking at $250. So the supplies aren't cheap, the printer's not cheap. It also would help if you knew a little bit about repairing electronics. You can get it under warranty, which I have this under warranty, which saves me a whole lot of time. I don't like making repairs. My old printers, I had to make repairs, and that's one reason why I went for the one printer under warranty option. Saved me a lot of time. And Epson has wonderful warranty. So they're not cheap, but they save you a lot of time and headaches. So look into that if you're going DTG. If you don't want to have to deal with maintenance every day, I would not look into getting a DTG. If you want to do a lot of bulk orders, you can go DTG route, but I would probably look to go screen printing. Screen printing is probably the best option for the bulk orders. And if you want to go for that type of clientele, if you want to do bulk orders, work for businesses, screen printing is a good option. And if you're just starting out, there's other cheaper options to get into than DTG printing. Like I said, there's vinyl. That's a good place to start when you're new. You could buy transfers and just get a heat press and not have to worry about printing or maintenance, anything, just pressing shirts. Definitely a good option for new people. So pick your poison, you know, if you want a lot of headaches, but you think DTG is the option, it's a great option for me. So, but I didn't jump into it also. I started with transfers, heat press, vinyl. I did everything before I got a DTG. It took me a while to save up for my first one, which is a whole nother story. Like I was just saying, DTG is not always the best option for everybody. DTF, direct to film printing, is a good option, but I wouldn't suggest getting your own printer. It's just as big of a headache as DTG. I had a DTF printer and nah, don't do it, don't do it. Buy transfers, support a local printer if you can, and hey, you make a good business partner that way, and you don't have to worry about the headache of dealing with the printer. Just run that heat press. Get a good heat press where you don't have to blow your shoulder up like mine is. Get something that's automatic and you're gonna be loving life and make a lot of money. There's also a lot of companies now that have scaled up their business where they could charge a relatively friendly to the business owner cost per print with DTG. So you could outsource a lot of your prints, and I could actually recommend some businesses. There's a business in Dallas I would highly recommend if you're looking to get into it. It's kind of like a Printify type business, but it's smaller scale, family owned, and they do high quality work on very high quality blanks that a lot of these bigger print shops don't have. So keep that in mind. I'll link it down below if you want to get into that. I don't personally print for, I'm not looking for other orders right now, so I can't take on additional work right now, sorry. And then lastly, if you heard everything I said and you think DTG is still for you, join a couple of Facebook forum groups and just see what people are dealing with every day. Just a heads up, in those forum groups, you're going to see the worst of the worst, so don't let it scare you away if you think DTG is the right option, but definitely take other people's advice. It's not for everybody. You see a lot of people selling them on the market. Another thing to do if you're new and you're handy is to look into a used printer, especially if you're a fan of Epson. Epson has some really good extended warranties you could add. Not cheap, nothing, like I said, DTG, nothing is cheap with DTG, but it's probably the cheapest way to get into is to get a used Epson. And if it needs a new print head, sign up for that additional warranty to save you some money. Okay, so if you're a beginner and you haven't sold a single t-shirt and you're like looking to get into the business, don't run out and finance one of these. Don't do it. You're gonna be in trouble. You're not gonna have orders coming in. These printers cost so much money just to have sitting here. It's constantly wasting ink. So you're gonna be burning through your ink. You're gonna be clogging up your lines, clogging up your print head, and all that just costs a lot of money. So don't do it, guys. If you're new, like I said, get a heat press, get DTF transfers. There's other options to go for before you get this. Or like I said, get a used Epson, save yourself some money, just be ready to deal with maintenance on your own. And lastly, let me know what you guys think. Does anyone that's seen this video actually have a DTG? Do you have any experience? Would you get one? Did you sell it? Let me know your thoughts on DTG in general. I'd love to hear it. Like the video, really appreciate if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and just say hello down below. I appreciate it. Thank you guys. All right, so yeah, let me know down below what your guys' thoughts on DTG, if it's an option for you, if you think it's something that could turn your business into the next big Printify, the next big Shopify or whatever. Definitely love to hear it. And let me know what's holding you back if it's not something for you, because there's other options on the market and we could talk about that too. So, all right guys, thank you so much for joining me today. Hopefully this video helps someone out. If not, hey, whatever.